Welcome into the Crypto Bunker podcast. Hope you're doing well out there. Today, let's take a look at the Bitcoin chart. This is a long-term chart of Bitcoin that I wanted to focus on because it basically shows the bottom and the top of a logarithmic channel. And if you look at the Bitcoin rainbow chart, this also becomes clear. And I think that, this has always been kind of a joke. But if you look at this, um, you can really sort of start to see that what we're looking at is actually very similar to 2017, when Trump was elected the last time. And you can look back at this history where we were in this buy range, where we were in the green. The basically right now we're at buy with an exclamation point, even at 100K. So we basically what that means is we're not at a spot to be thinking that this is a top. And if we did sell off, we would potentially go into a fire sale mode. Obviously the purple is very rare to get. And right now the purple is around like 54K. I could see that if the tariff scenario gets crazy, where which I think is very possible, by the way. I think it's very possible that we could see a COVID-like sell-off. And I will show that also in the chart here. If you look at it, I actually put this, I basically took the 2020, 2019, 2020 chart and put it over this. And I think that that's the best comparison I've found in terms of just sort of what this looks like. And you can see we had a sharp rally in 2020, and this was when people already knew about the virus, right? With COVID, people already knew about it by that time, and so it was a little bit weird that it was rallying if we knew that stocks were potentially going to go down. So it was kind of a counter trend rally, sort of like what we have now. We know the tariffs are coming in. We know there's going to be shortages, empty shelves, small businesses are going to get crushed. Businesses are not hiring right now. People are losing their jobs. People are not getting hired out of college. A lot of college graduates are in a desperate situation, and people who graduated with their masters, went back to school, got MBAs. All of these types of people are having really difficult time finding a job. So the market is not great. The labor market is not great, and I don't know why Powell is not acknowledging that. But Bitcoin maybe could act as a risk-off investment. That's what we need to see. We need to see it. And I don't know if we will see it, because right now it looks like Bitcoin led the charge, basically. And yeah, there was like a week or two where people said Bitcoin is decorrelated, but then the NASDAQ followed suit with the S&P. And Bitcoin always leads these situations. It topped before the stock market in January when the market topped in February. So Bitcoin tends to lead these things. And so, what we would want to look for at this point would be a confirmation. I don't think, right now, the reason this isn't similar is because we're about to make a weekly high, basically. I mean, the weekly high is very close. It's 1039, and that's basically where we got cut off so far. But pretty much, if you look at this chart pattern, I mean, there's nothing really to not like about it. It also reminds me of over here a little bit where we stomped out and then we kind of closed around the high here and then we just bam, we just smoked up from there. Bitcoin can, do that type of thing to you. So I wouldn't be surprised to see like another impulse candle to like 120 and then we chop sideways and then we finish off at like 150. Um, I think it'd be healthier if we could get a pullback to like 95. I've been waiting for a pullback. I've been talking about a pullback. We haven't really gotten one. I did post a YouTube short, which is where I'm posting like quick sort of not trades, but more just like quick thoughts about like a buying opportunity. It was basically around this area here. So that was a good spot to buy. Um, and the hedge eye process basically it never got to the bottom end of the range, but it got close enough that they decided, okay, we are going to make this buy. And then we just blasted up from there. Um, and I guess what I just like to look at Bitcoin on a long-term basis. And I think that what we need to realize is that when we go back to the Bitcoin rainbow chart, um, look at how low we are compared to like, look what we went all the way up to the red, both of these bull runs. And this one we got cut short. And what I'm sort of thinking is this a bull run where we don't get cut short? Um, then we're looking at, what I think is the potential for like $1 million Bitcoin in the next year. So it sounds crazy now, but when you realize that the financial system is broken and you realize that Bitcoin is the new money of the new financial system, it's kind of like musical chairs or like last one, gets left out and everyone sort of just rushes into that one chair when you're sort of at the end and some people fall and then, some people and it's sort of like this rush to get there. And so, right now, if we look at top companies by market cap as well, we can see where Bitcoin is in the assets out here. So right now, um, sorry. Oh, where is this? Oh, usually they like changed it actually. I think they changed it. Let me see here. Here we go. Here we go. Okay, so top assets, gold is at 22 trillion. Okay. For Bitcoin to pass gold, it would have to be at 1 million, or it would be close to where gold is at now at almost 1 million. 1 million a coin would be 21 trillion by market cap. So um right now it's above 2 trillion and it's coming for the rest of these companies. And honestly, once we get to like 180K, we're going to pass all these companies. And it's going to look pretty cool to see um it up there. And Saudi Aramco used to be like up in this range. Silver is also, right around where Bitcoin's at. So I think silver could run as well at some point if we get this sort of run to assets, hard assets that don't have earnings that aren't correlated with the economy. I do think, though, there's a scenario where there's a wipeout first. So we have to be wary of that. And we can take a look at gold and silver as well, because I also invest in those. And hopefully maybe you do too. Um, but yeah, I mean, honestly, I think Ethereum, looking a lot better. It is bullish trend as well. Now it's up at 300 billion market cap, but at the end of the day, to me, it does seem like Bitcoin is the winner of the crypto sphere. The reason I say that is since the time I started in crypto, which is totally subjective, it's been 5 years of investing in crypto and silver and gold and things like that. And the two winners of the new era of financial investing and hedges and all these things that you want to own is big tech, gold, and Bitcoin. I mean, you could say silver and ETH have lagged behind. ETH has done better than silver, of course. Silver in 2020, probably $20. Now it's 30. That's still a good return. That's a 50% return. Gold, maybe was 1800. So, that's, over almost 100% return. But Bitcoin was like 10K. And so that's, 1,000% return, right? So it's really 10x since the COVID change. And I think that we're in a new era of investing, and I think that Bitcoin just becomes that sort of massive play on the new space of investing and hedging. Um, I also wanted to look at Bitcoin, if we can find it, just the Bitcoin to gold chart, if we can. I had it for Bitcoin gold. Oh, maybe BTC XAU. Here we go. So, yeah, I mean, essentially, let's take a look at this because obviously Bitcoin would have to really outperform here. And I think it's possible that it is going to actually. I mean, this is almost like a double cup and handle, sort of similar to the Bitcoin chart itself. But, is it possible that we go up, from here, like a 3x against gold? Yeah, I mean, if gold, goes sideways and Bitcoin goes up 3x, that could happen. So, anything can happen. Gold could go down and Bitcoin could go up. Gold could go up and Bitcoin could go up more. I think when we're looking at, again, it's just sort of this like long-term thinking that, it really does look like the 2017 pattern to me. Um, when we look at it, it's kind of on this floor still of this long-term um, pattern. And it's kind of just, cranking sideways and it's really right at the bottom almost. It's like almost like the opportunity to buy at the bottom, but also buy the breakout. So it's sort of like a cool thing to look at. And I also think it looks, it sort of looks like, is it going to, break out just like that did? And so I really think if we're looking at a realistic price target, we're looking at like 200 to 250K. I think, obviously these targets up here, which I think are possible, around maybe 600,000, things like that. Definitely possible. Obviously, none of this is financial advice, but if we just zoom out, I would argue that we just haven't really seen anything yet. Even if you look at it on the 3-month chart, you can just kind of see that we're very similar to the 2017. We're sort of just chopping along, nothing special, basically just sort of waiting it out. And it's very similar. Um, and that takes us up in terms of that to 300K, something like that. So I just thought I would make a quick video today, um, just to look at it. I know I said we would look at gold and silver as well, but just don't have time for that. So I do think, if the tariff situation goes bad and we get like a deflationary impulse, I think everything could sell off. So I still think that's a possibility. I would still not be all in on anything. I would be scaling in, but I would be waiting and kind of having a core position of cash. Maybe 25% would be cash, and I would just sort of, even if that doesn't work out, and Bitcoin goes straight up to a million or whatever, I don't think that's going to happen. So there's always going to be pullbacks. Even if we go to 120, we'll probably pull back to 100, right? So it's not like you're going to miss out. There's always another opportunity for a dip until there's not. And I don't think we're at that point yet. But if the China tariff deal goes through and it's sort of, you know, I could see a massive pump, and I think you want to buy that pump. I don't think you'd want to sell that pump. So again, none of this financial advice, but if that helps you out, I hope it did. And if it does, then you can like and subscribe and have a great rest of your day and weekend. Peace.